Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm actually going to be doing like a review video slash first impressions of the, not new, but new to me, the Rare Beauty Foundation Concealer, and I also picked up their foundation brush just because I figured that it would, kind of pair well with this. So if you're curious to see the review, find out my final thoughts, then be sure to go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so first and foremost, just to keep this like a fair review, I'm just going to go ahead and use my normal primers. So starting off with the Tatcha Silk Canvas, just putting a little bit of that on the tip of my finger and kind of rubbing it in, kind of pressing it just in my T-zone where I usually have like slightly bigger pores and get a little bit more oily, I guess you could say, on the chin and then as well on the forehead. For today, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer just because the Fenty Hydrating is very hydrating, and I've read that this foundation in particular is more on like the dewy hydrating side. And I'm just taking the shade 180, which honestly might be a little bit dark, but we're just going to roll with it. And I'm going to do half my face with the foundation brush and then half my face with a beauty sponge. The brush is super cute, very nice and sleek. And it has like a soft matte feel to the handle, and I love that. It's like probably my favorite thing. That's why I really like the NARS packaging, because it's like that soft matte. So now that I went ahead and already prepped and primed my skin, I'm going to go ahead and do the left side of my face with the brush and then the right side of my face with the sponge, just to kind of see the application with both of the tools and then see what one I prefer. So this is the shade 180. It's probably going to be too dark for me, but hey, we're rolling with the punches. And I like the size of the doe foot applicator. Oh, this is yellow. Wow, this is yellow. All right, well, we are rolling with it, and we can, oh my God. Yeah, this is not my shade by any means, but it's fine. So first I'm going to go ahead and do the sponge and just kind of see how it blends. And I'm just gently patting that into the skin, and it is a damp sponge. So I'm going to also bring it down the neck just because it's not my shade. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it literally looks like I have jaundice. Which is, I mean, it's fine because I didn't get my right shade, so that's my own fault, but I'll probably return it and then pick up a different shade because this is just not gonna cut it, honey. This is so yellow, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's like up around my nose area, it's cakey, and I mean even on my cheeks it's like it looks kind of dry. I mean, obviously this is like a blemish, so don't pay attention to that, but I mean, it's already settling into my smile line. I mean, it's fine, but is it the best foundation I've ever used? No, but it did cover the redness pretty well, so I'm happy about that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well. Just kind of put the same amount of product, maybe a little less because we are going in with a brush. Kind of just covering that area. And just randomly slapping it on my face. And now I'm going to go in with the Rare Beauty brush and see if this buffs out any better or worse. The brush is definitely giving me more coverage than the sponge, but I feel like I might like the sponge application a little bit more, but we haven't even gotten to powder yet, so I can't say for sure. So I'm just taking that and kind of buffing it all over the skin. I really love this foundation brush just because you can kind of get in all like the little crevices that your face has. Just kind of tapping over everywhere and buffing it in. One thing that I do have to say about this foundation is that from afar it gives off this like really nice like dewy luminosity. So it doesn't look like I have much product on my skin, but if I look up closely, it just looks like the product is sitting on my skin. But you can see like right here, it looks like it's just sitting on my skin. Like it's not melting into the skin. It just looks like a cakey, chunky second layer. Yeah, as of now, first impressions, I really don't like this foundation. I liked it better applied with the sponge, so I'm just going to go ahead and pounce over my skin and maybe try to get some of that moisture back just because it looks so dry. And I mean, it shouldn't look dry. I prepped with like my facial oils, my moisturizer. I did a chemical exfoliant last night, loaded up with tons of like moisturizer and very hydrating like thick creams overnight. Woke up this morning, my skin was supple. I went ahead and did another exfoliant. This time it was a physical exfoliant, just that way, just in case, you know, any dry skin or dead skin was just sitting on my skin. I made sure to get it off. Again, went in with my very hydrating moisturizers. So, I mean, in reality, my skin should not be looking like this. I mean, I'm looking in the viewfinder right now and it looks fine, but in person, it looks so dry, so cakey. It's not like sinking into my skin. It just looks like it's sitting on top. Go in with the concealer. I like it. It's super cute. I like the little, you know, match. This is in the shade 160C. I like to go a little bit lighter with my concealers, so that's why I picked up a lighter shade, just because I kind of like to give, you know, my eyes and my face that highlighted look. And take this and apply it right on the under eye. Kind of give it some brightness and hoping that this gives me pretty decent coverage as well. And then pop it on the few little blemishes that I have and see how well it does to cover them. Just something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, foundation brush on the left side of my face and then the sponge on the right side. Like in the viewfinder it looks fine, but in person it's just not ideal in my opinion. It's not something that I would reach for. I mean, maybe I'm using it wrong and maybe, you know, maybe it's user error, and so far it's gonna be a no for me, dog. I don't necessarily love this. I'm gonna keep going with it, see what happens, keep blending it out, and then I'll be sure to set the face as well and kind of see how it reacts with my powders. And I try to keep everything the same, like primers the same, skin prep the same, that way I know, because it kind of gives me like a baseline for how I like my other foundations and how it would compare to this one. But as of now, honestly, I don't love it. Up close, I don't think I've ever hated my skin more. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my tried and true Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Powder, take that on my sponge, swirl it around, get a heavy coating, and set my under eyes. I'm just like at a loss for words because I don't know what's going on. Like, I can genuinely say I haven't had my skin look like this before when having a foundation, other than if my skin is like, you know, very dry, I haven't exfoliated in a few days, then that I can totally understand. But I did a double exfoliation, and if it's looking like this, not a fan. Not a fan. So just kind of setting the whole face, and then finally I'm going to be taking the powder brush that I always use, going in with that same powder and just swirling it and then tapping it on just to make sure that I did get the whole face set. And I know that this is supposed to be, you know, kind of like a dewy foundation, but I personally like to set my face just for longevity and to make sure that the product lasts on the face as long as possible. Skin is definitely looking a little bit better now that I've set it. It's not as like crepey, I guess you could say. It looks like it's sitting on my skin and it's not like melting into my skin and becoming one. And maybe that's just because it doesn't react well with powder and you're not supposed to set this foundation, but I always set my foundations and usually for the most part they don't look like this. but I'm gonna go ahead and spritz my face just to maybe add some moisture back. So I'm just gonna be taking the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. That looks like it helped at least a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face off camera, and I'll be back to show y'all the final look. Alright you guys, so I went ahead and finished the rest of my face off camera. I do really like how the final look ended up turning out, but I mean the skin looks really nice from afar, but up close I can tell it's like it looks really dry up and around my under eye. I'll go ahead and zoom y'all in. I don't know if you can tell, and I'll also turn down the lights to kind of get like a true color, because I mean, yes, everybody has under eye creases. I totally understand that, but for me, my under eye usually doesn't look that creasy, and around my nose, you can tell it looks just more dry and cakey and not the best. I mean, overall, I think it does look really nice. Like, it does look like skin, but I feel like for the amount of skin prep that I had to do in order for it to look this good was kind of ridiculous. And even upon first application, I was not pleased with it. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, I definitely thought that it could be better for sure. And I mean, I had to spray a lot of this on my face, the just like Morphe setting spray, in order for all the products to kind of look like, you know, like skin, and like it wasn't just sitting on top. So I definitely do think that with time, it's hopefully going to continue to look better on my skin, but upon first impressions, I don't know, it's definitely not my favorite. I've tried better, I've also tried worse. So I think it just kind of depends on your preference and, you know, what kind of finish you like. I can't attest to see, you know, how well this is going to work on people with oily skin, because for me myself, I'm more dry. So I think, you know, if you're curious about it, you should definitely give it a shot. But at the same time, the amount of skin prep that I had to do, I mean, I had to do a chemical exfoliant last night, a physical exfoliant this morning, and even upon first application, it just looked like it was sitting on my skin. Like, it wasn't blending in seamlessly and looking like skin, kind of like my L'Oreal Infallible does. And I mean, this one you can get at the drugstore. I think it's like $12, I want to say, and this one's $30. So again, I mean, it's all personal preference on, you know, what kind of finish you like. But I really did have to set my whole face in order to get the like powder products to blend seamlessly on top. So that's another thing to think about. But my final thoughts on this is, you know, it's fine. Is it worth $30? I don't think so, just for me personally. I mean, right now, looking in the viewfinder, I think it does look really pretty. It looks very seamless. It does look like skin, and you can kind of still see, you know, like my little blemishes that I have peeking through, so it's not a super full coverage. I mean, the way that I have to think about it is, you know, if I were to use this product up, would I repurchase it, or like would I grab for it over some of the other foundations that I have? And personally, the answer to that is no, just because it does take a lot of like skin prep, and you know, I had to use a lot of setting spray and powder and, you know, let it sit on the skin in order for it to look this good. So yeah, for me personally, I don't think I would recommend it. I mean, if you want to give it a try, definitely go ahead and give it a shot, but for me, with all the prep work that I had to do, initial look of it on the skin, I was not pleased. Editing Natalie here, I just wanted to pop on. I forgot to mention that the foundation is very, very lightweight. Like, honestly, it doesn't feel like I have anything on my skin, which in my mind is definitely a plus, just because some foundations are like heavier and they feel like cakier on the skin, whereas this one, it's pretty seamless and very lightweight, which in my mind is a bonus. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this in the video and keep on rolling. But for me, I definitely love, love, love the foundation brush. I really like it because it's more tapered at the top, as you can tell, and I mean, it helps you like get right up into the corner of your eye. The shape of it, the density is really good. It's super, super soft as well. And I mean, I did like it with the foundation, but just as like a side-by-side comparison, I definitely preferred the sponge over the brush. But I'm definitely going to continue to use this brush and try it with my other foundations and see what I think. But if you're in the market for a good foundation brush, I definitely recommend this one. I really, really like it. It applies the foundation really nicely. But just with this foundation, it's not my favorite combination. But the foundation with the sponge is really good. Overall, I do think that, where I got the skin is nice and it does look really good. However, kind of the amount of effort and time that I had to put into it to make it look this good, for me personally, it wasn't worth it. So in my mind, I would forego this foundation. I definitely wouldn't repurchase it. But like I said, I'm going to have to play around with it a little bit more and kind of see if there's any other techniques or primers that work better with it. But I'll definitely keep y'all posted. Alright, you guys, so I've been wearing this foundation for about like 4 to 4.5 hours now, and my opinion on it has completely done a 180. I really, really like this foundation. I feel like the more I wear it, the more it kind of starts to look like skin, the more it warms up to my skin and kind of like melts in, and it kind of gives you like a second skin effect. Especially now that my oils are starting to peek through just a little bit, it's looking more luminous and radiant. So overall, I think I really like this foundation. Alright, you guys, so this is the final check-in. I just got done taking pictures outside, and the way that Alright, so I don't necessarily know exactly why it cut out, but I'm basically saying that it photographed beautifully. The foundation, the more I wore it, the prettier it got. And honestly, my final thoughts on the foundation are it is a solid 8 out of 10, and I completely changed my mind. But if you guys did like this video, please be sure to drop a like down below, as well as a comment as to what you'd like to see from me next. If you like these more, like first impressions review videos, or if you wanted me to try to do like a wear test with any specific foundation, please be sure to drop that down below in the comments. And before you leave, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, that way you're notified every single time I upload a video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye guys!